secret's out. I'm a little bit older than everyone else that spoke here today, a little longer in the tooth. But just as a show of hands, how many of you think you're above average as compared to the rest of the United States in your ability, people, adults in America, in your ability to get along with other people? Anybody here say, yeah, I'm at least better than half the people in the United States? Out of 100,000 people polled by Tom Peters, what percentage do you think put themselves in the top quartile? Not in the top half, top quartile. All of them, 100%. 25% of them put themselves in the very top 1%, in the 99th percentile. Is that true? Do 100% of the people you come across allow you to merge on the highway, or open a door for you, or smile at you? That's not true. Next category, leadership, uplifting, inspiring, elevating, bring to someone to a higher level of conduct and thought. That's the essence of leadership. What percentage of you feel as though you belong in the top half? What percentage of the people polled, adults in America, 100,000, put themselves not in the top half, top quartile in their leadership skills? 70%. 2% below average. So that suggests 98% of the people you come across consider themselves good leaders, able to uplift, inspire, elevate you. Is that true? Do 98% of the people you come across, and now the last one, I have an athletic background, coaching background, was athletic skill. Very quantifiable. Strength, speed, endurance, wins and losses. What percentage rank themselves in the top half? I'm sorry, in the top quartile, not in the top half, regarding their athletic abilities? 60%. Only 6% below average. So that suggests, do 94% of the people you come across say, man, that person's an athlete. Wow. Is that true? So what does this tell us? Everyone here has the drive, right? We all are a little irrational about ourselves. We need self-awareness, but we all yearn to be successful. And that's one of the key components that I've studied over the last 25 years that allow people to be successful. They have a vision of where they want to go, but more importantly, that vision complements and utilizes their unique skills. They're able to explore. Does anybody know who that gentleman is over there? Not the funny looking one, the other one. Yeah, that's John Glenn, thank you. John Glenn was the first astronaut from the United States astronaut to orbit the Earth. And just by coincidence, guess what else happened on that day? I was born. So my mom introduced me to the world on February 20th, 1962. 37 years later, I introduced myself to John Glenn because anyone know, John Kennedy made him a national treasure after he went up, and he said, he can't go up anymore, right? We don't want to take the risk. While he was exploring and re-entering the Earth's orbit, he thought his rocket ship was breaking. Has anyone read The Right Stuff or saw the movie about the original astronauts? All the particles started coming across his windows. He said, this is it, I'm dying. But it was actually the Earth's atmosphere, particles in the Earth's atmosphere. So when he re-entered and re-engaged, Kennedy said, that's it, this guy's awesome. We don't want him to go back up. So 1998, Congress had to change the law. He went back up at the age 77 as a payload specialist on the Space Shuttle Discovery. And that spring, Brown, thinking that was pretty cool, bestowed him with an honorary degree. And I went to hear him speak, and he spoke on happiness. He said there are three things. He asked all the recent grads, do you think money makes you happy? And you heard from everyone in the audience, yeah. Right. He said, according to Gallup, has nothing to do with happiness. But the three themes support, again, these three major, really, factors that I've seen influence individuals and groups or organizations that are able to be resilient, able to bounce back. They contribute to a cause larger than themselves. They find and use their unique abilities and talents, and they make a meaningful difference in at least one other person's life, or they find someone that's able to make that difference. This is the Bridges model, and this really highlights any change, really is based on Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's book on death and dying. And it really highlights the way humans and organizations respond to change. Has anyone here ever asked somebody out and been rejected? So you go to that, thank you for your honesty, I appreciate that. You go to this point and here's the change. Regardless of the change, your first response is denial. Has anyone ever really wanted to date someone, asked them out and they said yes? Same response. I can't believe it, right? And then you go through, if you've been rejected, geez, how am I going to get over this? And then you're like, well, that other person doesn't look too bad. I'm going to go up and if they said yes, oh boy, now I got to play my A game. What are we going to do? We're going to go to a movie. We're going to go see a restaurant. What are we going to do? Maybe do both. And then you explore. Then you decide, and you move on. Well, some people, if it's overwhelming enough, and this is tragic, like PTSD with our veterans, they can get actually stuck here and compartmentalized and frozen. PTSD is a good reference. The actual chemicals in your brain, you're going to hear from a neurologist in a minute, the brain cannot treat itself. So if it's at that extreme level, there's wonderful treatments out there now that allow people to get out. But we're talking about the day in and day out changes that could either affect your health, friends and family, fun and recreation, romance, finance, career, spiritual and emotional well-being, your living surroundings, your education. Any one of those areas is going to evoke stress, and stress is really caused by that gap between where you are and where you'd like to be. So folks that are going along and all of a sudden there's a gap or a change in what they'd expected need to then look for what are the solutions. What are some of the opportunities I have? And then you make a commitment and move on. Now I put a picture up here of my first friend, Nyan Lassiter. I said, that's me right there, my Beatles gig. My aunt went to a Beatles concert. She bought me back a guitar, a shirt, and a little hat. Nyan actually produces major recording artists today. And you can see he's recording one right there. I actually am a bass in a barbershop quartet, but I'm not on the level of talent that Nyan is used to dealing with. Anyhow, we're exploring here, but we're also doing something that counterbalances this activity here. If groups or a person is depressed, and again, I'm not putting it on them, it can happen to anybody, but if some people can get stuck in the valley, and we call them valley dwellers, and again, you become depressed, you're overwhelmed, but you love company and validation. Misery loves company, right? So you see someone, or they see someone that's had a change, they want you to join them. And they all of a sudden say, life stinks, it's horrible. So what do you want to do? You want to be able to get out. From the stories you've heard today, you've heard people tell you they had a goal, but they also had a support network. Now, ironically, Nyan and I experienced traumas in early life, separate traumas, but comparable traumas. And we both spent time now getting back together and just sort of helping each other as support networks. He still lives in New Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey. Has anyone ever climbed a mountain? How about climbed a mountain in the middle of the night? Does anybody have any idea where this is? This is a branded mountain for Philmont Scout Reservation in Cimarron, New Mexico. And the plan for many folks is to come and climb up over the top of this mountain on the last night out. You spend about 2 weeks out in the mountains hiking 10 to 15, maybe up to 20 miles a day with a 50-pound pack on your back. Every night you have to take all your smellables, your food, your toothpaste, your soap, put it in a burlap bag, hang it between trees. Bears, right? You don't want them coming in the tent. And I heard one. I didn't sleep well while I was out there. And they also have kamikaze bears. They go up above the bags and dive out to try to get them. But anyhow, last night we decided to merge. We had about 11 people in our group. We merged with another group from New Jersey. They had 11, so we had 22. And our plan was to take the path up here and see the sunrise on the top of the tooth. It's a traditional way that people end their wonderful, it's a life-changing experience for many people, as it was for me. Well, one of our adult leaders, for some reason, right around this area, lost the path. So we kept on going and bushwhacking this way, and we got to here, and one of the young guys in the other group just started going up this path, and people started following him. Well, he got to about here. This is all boulders, and he started hitting boulders, and they came down, and they hit one person, didn't get hurt. But Mr. Ames then said, I got to go up front. So Mr. Ames was there. I was about fifth behind, and we got then up to about here, and he couldn't find the path, and he had a panic attack. And it's about 2:30 or 3 in the morning. And I'm the only young man behind him. Everyone else is behind me. And he says, what have I done? I can't go back. We can't go back. We'll fall. We'll die. We're all going to die. And so I said, Mr. Ames, you can't say that. And I'm 15 years old. I said, we'll be okay. I think there's an area over there. So I actually found a path over here, and I was exploring, but all I could see, the vision I had created by the moonlight, was the top of this peak right here. And somehow, all 22 of us made it up here before the sunrise. Did I see the sunrise? No. I put my head in my hands and I passed out. It was the most stressful evening of my life to date in my life. But I did, all the way up from where I took over up, talk to God one-on-one continuously until I got up there and I said, you got me through that? Whatever you want me to do for the rest of my life, I'll do. And so, made a little agreement. Anybody paddleboard? Now, I was a horrible student from 4th grade to 9th grade. Truant, couldn't concentrate. Then got into high school, went through that experience starting from sophomore year, like turned around. There's some other factors that came into play too. But I played for an incredible high school football team in New Jersey, and one of our players lives up in Old Orchard Beach, Maine. Did you guys see Black Hawk Down or read the book? He was not in the movie. He was in Somalia. He was a medevac in the Rangers that went in to rescue it. I remember him telling me every night they'd have to dig a ditch to sleep in, and he would be awakened in the middle of the night by rats nibbling on his toes. And so he's now somewhat retired. He lives in Old Orchard Beach, and we have a reunion every year with a group of us. And we go up, he restores VW buses. We drive around in a 62 restored, hand-restored VW bus. And we're like Scooby-Doo. Everyone stops, takes a picture of the bus. It's beautiful. Well, anyhow, he also paddleboards 365 as long as it's not snowing or there's no lightning out. And one day he was paddling. This has never happened to him. And a hurricane was coming. It was kicking up the waves. And he looked down and he saw this harbor seal. Came right up next to him. He went, "Hoop, hoop, hoop." He said, what? So he ignored, denial. Kept paddling. The thing went, "Hoop, hoop, hoop." So he's trying to resist this thing, but it's becoming evident that the thing really wants his attention. So he finally explores, and he looks, and says, what do you want? And as he said that, the thing went, "Hoop, hoop, hoop," and it snapped its neck around, trying to direct his gaze out into the ocean. He goes, this is crazy. But he looks out in the ocean, and he saw 2 dots. And so he starts paddling out to the dots. And the closer he gets to the dots, he hears, help, help, help. It was a father and a son from Canada who were being dragged out by the riptide. And so he paddled up to them, put them on the board, paddled them in, saved their lives, they took them to dinner. And so, you have to be aware of the nuances around you. And Sean was ready for that. He was willing to explore. And you notice all these stories sort of encompass having a vision, but that seal enlisted Sean for support. Oops, sorry guys. Anyone from the LA area? Catalina Island right there. You guys ever hear of Flo Chadwick? Famous distance swimmer from the 1950s and 60s. She grew up in San Diego, and she loved swimming and racing, but she really loved distance swimming. And she was the first woman to swim the English Channel both ways. And she broke a time record going both ways. And then she swam every major distance swim in the world and broke records for most of them. Well, she wanted to swim this distance between Catalina Island and the shoreline. It's 26 miles. She enlisted a ton of support. She had a bunch of boats with her. Her mom was with her. She starts swimming. She's into the 15th hour and it's cloudy, so she can't see the dock. So she lost her vision. When she lost her vision, she actually lost her ability. So again, looking the 3 key components, what can you envision, or do you really have the drive? What can you discover about yourself, or do you really have the ability to do it? And then, can you enlist people? Are you able to? Are you allowed to do it? Do other people encourage you and allow you to do it? She was allowed. Her mom was in the boat. They were encouraging her. They're saying she wasn't able or willing because she couldn't see the distance, and she froze. She seized. She had so much cortisol in her system, she couldn't move her muscles. So she had to be taken out of the water. She did a very interesting thing. She went on a clear day and took a picture of the bank where she was supposed to land, and she put that in her bedroom and she studied it for about 3 months. Day came for her to swim again, and guess what kind of day it was? More foggy than the first time. So she gets in the water this time, and she's got the boats trailing her, and what are they saying to her? Are they saying this is a waste of time, the water's freezing, I just saw a shark? No, they're saying, you can do it, right? They're encouraging, and that's the third major piece you need. You have to have your vision, you have to have your abilities aligned with that vision, and you have to have a support structure. Every time she took her out of the water, what did she see? She saw the picture. She didn't see the fog, she envisioned the picture. There's actually, you can, if anyone in here meditates, you can actually lower your blood pressure by meditating, right? Your mind has a unique control over your body. So what do you think? You think she made it? Absolutely. And she broke the time record for women for that distance. So it just re-emphasizes, and this is the final story. As I mentioned, I played for a unique high school football team, never lost a game over 3 years, was the only three-year starter, and I was a horrible student again up to 9th grade. I think the best grade I gotten was a B between 4th and 9th grade. The lowest grade I got between 10th grade and 12th grade was a B+. Being a part of this organization, especially this man right here, Ted Monica, had a huge, and my coach Jack Francis was my line coach, had a huge difference on that. Well, senior year, we're 8-0, and we are heading into a playoff game against Orange, featuring Sammy Seal, fastest kid in New Jersey, 2 years in a row, 100 and 200 meter champ. Used to show up to track meets with lightning bolts, those old, remember the hats? They had the, like the Achilles heel, the wings on the side? That's what he would wear all the track meets. Very intimidating. Guy was fast as lightning. And everyone said, by senior year, first 2 years, we had guys go to Michigan, Penn State, Syracuse, Boston College. We were loaded with talent. We had 5 or 6 guys that played 2 ways the whole season. We were scrappers. We were like Hoosiers. We just refused to lose. So 8-0. Anybody have a mole or have a relative with a mole on their skin that changes color or shape? When I was in 3rd grade, 1971, so I've been about 9, my mom had one on her back, and I was in the doctor's office, Dr. Spivak, with my brother and sister. The doctor said, you know, that mole there, that right on your flank right there, that looks like melanoma. If that's melanoma, she was tiny, my mom, 5'3", I'll give you about a year. And my mom just started crying, and I'm just staring up, and I'm not really figuring out what all this thing is. But that probably had a lot to do with my not doing too well in school, because our family went into crisis. Now, 8-0, we're going in. Sunday, they said, Matt, you got to come in. She had gone into relapse. That August was in the hospital. Said she's losing consciousness. You got to say goodbye. So that Sunday, I said goodbye. She died Tuesday night, right after my sister arrived from Wyoming, which is an amazing story in itself. She was buried Friday. We had to play the playoff game Saturday. We beat Orange in the last minute with a touchdown by this guy, Stevie Doherty, over the left side. This is me, by the way, if you didn't get it. Sunday we had to take the SATs. Then the following Thursday we had to play our traditional Thanksgiving rival, Milburn. So within that week, and I really didn't, and everyone goes through that process. So I was certainly in denial, resistance, explore, commit. But because I was part of a team, because I was part of a group, because we had a vision, because we were using our unique talents, but because we had support, I had this incredible support network. Next week, I'm going to be getting together with these guys, including Coach. He's 86 now. So we see each other like 4 times a year. That enabled us to move forward and get through the craziness that can happen in any one of our lives. So this is the summary, and these are things that he taught. Always focus on the next play. Every problem has a solution. You must explore it, and ideally, exploring, having a vision and exploring within yourself how you can meet that vision is the ideal combination. And lastly, I love this statement. He said, you know, as a team, we're only as good as our most challenged player. And you've heard this talks today from Julia, you've heard from, I believe, Mac, from a couple other folks and Max, and about really finding, in Austin, finding programs that address the issues, that address the most needy in our society. Because really, as a society or as a team or as a group, we're only as strong as the people that need the greatest amount of help. But then he said, if you are that person, you better work your tail off to get better. And if you know who that person is, you better work your tail off to help them get better. And that's what made us champions. And over here, just to accentuate, I've had 2 dreams in my life that became reality. I mean, actual sleeping dreams. We had a person in our town that worked for NFL Films. So every Friday night, we would go have dinner at one of the parents of one of the players, ziti, meatballs, chicken, usually. One time we had turkey dinner. Then we would go to the high school and watch video of us playing, and we'd see an NFL psych film. Well, I started as an offensive tackle sophomore year. I had a 1,000-yard rusher, 1,000-yard junior, 1,000-yard senior year. And I played short yardage defense, but before the Summit game junior year, we saw this video on a lineman's dream, which is when a defensive tackle picks up the ball and runs in the end zone. I said, that's a great movie and everything, but that'll never happen to me because I play offense primarily in just short yardage defense. Well, the next day, Steve Fischetti, who was playing in front of me, hurt his leg. It wasn't Jerry Holmes, which says up there. And I went in, very first play, we rush the passer. I'm about to sack. Jerry gets there a second before me, hits the guy, the ball pops out, bounces down, pops in my hand. I go in the end zone, 40 yards, nothing but grass in front of me. And that's a picture. I wish I had a picture of the pig pile. The whole team left the bench, jumped on top of me. But that night, I had a dream that this was going to happen. After that film must have hit me. The only other time I had that was after I met my wife. And she didn't know she was going to be my wife. I didn't know she was going to be my wife, my partner. But I had a dream that she had baby's breath in her hair and we were getting married. And lo and behold, 25 years later, 3 beautiful kids. I'm married to that woman, and when we got married, she had baby's breath in her hair. So with that, I want to offer my support and encouragement and assistance to anyone here that wants to meet their dreams, because they are definitely achievable if you have the right vision that complements the right talent and you surround yourself with the people that can support you. Good luck.